This scrolling on social media. Let me know what y'all think about this.
The lynching thing had a particular relevance to you because, in fact, you actually witnessed the lynching, didn't you?
I did, as a matter of fact. I was 11, 12 years old, I guess, in Omaha, and my father's printing business was on the second floor of a building that overlooked the courthouse square in Omaha. And he came home one night and told about this lynch mob that had started to form during the afternoon. And after supper, he put me in the car with him. We drove back downtown, and it was very unusual for me, for my dad to be taking me at my age and turning lights on and unlocking doors and going up the stairs, which is unusual. It's not like doing it in the daytime. And I remember those physical things and walking across this empty office to the window that overlooked the courthouse square, and this was where the riot was happening. My father never talked about it. He never preached about it. We both just were observers. And I watched an out-of-control mob of several hundred men drag a young black boy out of the jail in the courthouse, overpowered the sheriff to get him out, strung him up on a lamppost, riddled him with bullets, dragged him around back of a car or something like that. The mayor, this is how long ago we did have automobiles, but the mayor, for some reason or other, was on horseback, evidently because he could get into the courthouse square away from the streets easier. He was on horseback trying to stop this. They damn near lynched the mayor. That's how out of control these bastards can get. That's as Lincoln says in that scene. And he points to somebody. He's a God-fearing man. And what is he doing here? And I'm sure when he gets home, he's going to take down the good book. And it was a traumatic experience for me. I'll never forget it.
Must have had a profound effect on you. Why did your father do that?
Well, he never told me, but I would like to think that he realized that it would be a lesson. I had to grow up and move away from Omaha to appreciate that my father was a liberal Democrat in a hotbed of Republican reactionaries. It's Omaha and Nebraska still is.
Let me know what y'all think about.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Everyone, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to our brothers and a few sisters out there. Unto us like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. As you can clearly hear, this is not a thing of long ago. These things that he was spoken of was in a hotbed of generational curses, a generational hatred. All right. So on my main channel, I went a couple weeks ago, got flagged for a video which basically said, they showed a famous picture of a Edomite girl, probably like 12 years old, standing near a young black boy's body on a tree as he was dead, and she was smiling. There's a famous picture that's in a book called, and what's that damn book called again? I need to know call it. No. Without Sanctuary. Without Sanctuary. So they took down the video and gave me a strike from my main channel. But no matter how they try to erase this idea that this ever happened in American history, in the sight of the Lord, it was fresh in his mind. All right? Like did a show with the brother, Elder Bro Yaquab out here in New York, and he's real good at breaking down the time difference of, Scripture says that a day to the Lord is 1,000 years to us. So you can only imagine all these things that's happening on earth is fresh in the sight of the Lord, including blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans being slaughtered by Esau, Edom. Right? Under this man's rulership, he had his way with our people. And he's saying this looked like early 70s, right? This, just by looking at the picture, I'm not too sure when this happened, but it proves that it's quite obvious that we all know that Esau got to fucking pay. No matter how much money this mother effer gives, how much effort, how much apologies he may give publicly, it's not going to amount to anything that was done already. It's bad when somebody does something wrong to somebody and they did the stuff, and not only they did it, they keep on doing it. They say sorry at the same time, but they're doing it. So in the sight of Yahweh Shem Shai, you Edomites, you so-called white people, you're gonna have to pay for what you did to the Lord's people. No ifs, ands, buts about it. All right, and it was nothing to those people, absolute nothing, because the lives of Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans meant nothing to them. So don't come asking any of us, what do we think, or you should already know what should be the outcome. You're not gonna go. You're not gonna come out of this situation without scars. You're not gonna. You're not gonna be not affected by it. All right. We wasn't affected by it. They know the history. They made postcards. They made mockery, cartoons to remind us what we are and what they can do to us. Even to this moment, to this very day, they created an organization just to come and torture and torment the Lord's chosen people. So this is not a thing of you can just get away with the shit that you do. All right. Although we are prey right now at this very moment, but soon the thing's gonna change real quick. Nahum 3:1. I ain't gonna make this too long. Woe to the bloody city is all full of robberies. It's all full of lies and robberies and robbery, and the prey departeth not. Who is the prey? That what he just gave a testimonial of, an eyewitness of a young man, a young black, quote unquote, black man, taken by force by a mob of individuals. And there's been plenty of times it happened. All right, by mob rule. They took one or two witnesses. They took it to the extreme level. There was a raging mob that consistently put their hands on the Lord's people, and in their mind they thought they was going to get away with that, because why? We've been a prey. When something is a prey, the predator preys upon them. So they've been preying on the Lord's people for a long, long time, and they're going to have to pay every moment. Amos 1:11. So thus saith the Lord, yep. For 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity. In his anger did he tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever. So that's, no matter what the situation. Same thing happened in what they call Black Wall Street. It's another name for it, I can't remember right now. Same thing. A lie. It just takes a spark, and the mob goes mad. All right. The movie Rosewood. Well, it was based on facts that Rosewood, small town, got burnt down. Right? That's the facts. That's the evidence. In the film, they showed you that a so-called white woman cried about rape, right? And she blamed it on some random dude, random black guy. Then the mob decides, because of the hatred that they had for the people, their neighbors that was right down the block, they took actions into their own hand. All right. And that led to a massacre. And there's been several cases of massacres here in the United States of America. All right. Just because of a spark. It wasn't because it was just a random thing and it was leaking for justice. No. It's because of that old perpetual hatred. All right. That's embedded in their spirit to harm and to destroy Israel. Now, they may not like the other nations, but they hate, they hate, especially Judah. Oh my God, they hate Judah. Yahweh is unique, the so-called African Americans. The so-called white man hates with all his might and all his soul. That's where the term perpetual hatred comes from. All right, it's something old. They had this wrath forever. So since they had this wrath forever, the Lord's not going to turn back his judgment and punishment towards them. Okay? Esau is not going to get out of this situation, period. He has a debt to pay. Obadiah 15. It says, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. So he's not the only individual, all of them. Right? As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. So rape, robbery, and murder is what they have done unto the Lord's people. And so in return, the Lord's going to allow that to happen to them. What was it? Zechariah 14:2. Salakia. Zechariah 14:2 says, for I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the cities shall be taken, and the houses raffled, and the women ravished, which mean raped. And half of the city shall go into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. So this actually happened to our people. And to this moment, to this day, this is why even in the show we did, I make mention of it. Tell you, same chapter, same book, that he's who's possessed enslaved them and hold themselves not guilty. Zechariah 11:5. Right? So they possessed the Lord's people. They took us down there and they're over us. Yet they take full advantage of us. We become a hunted prey. It tells you, is it this chapter? Hold on. Zechariah in the chapter book. Yeah. Zechariah 1:15. I am so displeased with the heathen that are at ease. I was but a little displeased, and they helped for their affliction. So the Lord was angry at his people. He allowed Esau to have his way for a period of time. But after this thing called slavery, after they quote unquote abolished slavery, that was the worst time for people. All right? And the worst thing that they could do to everybody out here, especially blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, to actually give them, to make them believe that they're free, to make them believe they have an option, while they still F them over. So the Lord does not like Esau at all. I mean that, and these other nations, because they took full advantage. All right? Kick a man while he's down, right? And they flaunt it. Now, according to your system, if a man or woman is arrested, meaning you took control over them, there's no reason, no harm should come to that person. What is it saying? Innocent to proven guilty. Automatically, they have people guilty. Right? Back to Zechariah 14:3. Then shall the Lord go forth to fight against those nations as when they fought in the day of battle. So the Lord is about to fight for his people. All right, since I said that, scripture come to mind. Isaiah 31. As birds flying, so shall the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it and pass it over. He will preserve it. So the Lord's going to fight for his people. All right? And these latter times, because our people, the Israelites who don't claim to be Israelites, all right, we keep telling them who they are, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You have Stockholm syndrome. You do whatever it takes to appease your same oppressors. All right. So what they're about to do onto everybody, but mainly you, Jacob's trouble begins with Israel, is they about to take away majority of you into captivity. Okay? And it's not a thing where you see it prior to, you read about it in the books. All right? They put it in some film, how you gonna get out a situation. There's no come out getting out of this situation. Because this devil is gonna come down having great wrath. And he's gonna remind you of all the things that he have done in the past. Now you have cases of young men being slaughtered. What's this kid name? Not Trayvon Martin. Like Oscar something. I can't remember. It was a young boy that was just playing with a gun and they shot him maybe 4 or 5 years ago. All right? There's always cases of that scent. So the Lord is going to have to defend Jerusalem by his greatest weaponry, the, the chariots of Israel. All right? The Lord's going to defend his people with the chariots of Israel. That's how Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to fight against everybody. And the Lord's going to put that spirit. Matter of fact, Ezekiel 25:7. No. I went to the point. That's why. 14. It says, no, 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and the day of the den shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury. And they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord. So the Lord is the one that's going to put the Lord is the one that's going to put the spirit on his people to take vengeance. Okay? And part of that spirit of taking vengeance, he could just flood majority of people with all the things that they have done in the past. So you're not going to get away with shit. All right? You can smack a nigga in his face and he ain't do much because he's scared of the cops. He's scared of it. But when a nigga lose it, he's going to lose it. But when the Lord puts a spirit on his people to remember everything that was done, then you are toast. All right? You devils are fucked. Micah 5:8. Actually 7. The remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, as a dew from heaven. As a dew from the Lord, as the showers upon the grass that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for man, waiteth for the sons of man. The remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles, in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of the sheep. Who, if he go through both, shall try down and tear in pieces, and none can deliver. And what's going to make that happen? The Lord's going to put a heavy spirit on his people. All right. The greatest fear that Esau or maybe Esau has, which you know what? I gotta look for it now. The greatest fear that they have is the recompense, the payback. Because they know once it happens, once the people that they oppress get that green light, they know there's no stopping it. This is not gonna be a thing. You know, when Jake gets upset, they might fuck up a couple crackers here and there. They might take like one Jake might take down, I mean hypothetical, but let's say 10 crackers. One Jake, right? They gotta subdue him and do this. So just imagine what the elect is going to be able to do. And it's prophetic. So one shall chase 100, 1,000, or something like that in Leviticus, the 27th chapter, I believe. So when the Lord gives that spirit to his people, nothing and no one can face it, truly. Because the Lord he's about to turn up on these people. You're going to be able to pray. You're going to know how it feels to be preyed upon. All right? You're going to know how it tastes to lose, to see your loved ones be taken out before your eyes and not have the strength or the will to fight back. And this is the promise that the Lord has for his people. This is how the Lord is going to make amends for all the things that was done. It's just a matter of time that he is going to allow that to happen. No man is going to lift up arms on their own accord because that's suicidal. The Lord is going to justify his people. Zephaniah 3 and 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. So about Yahushua rising up to the prey. That's why Yahushua, when he made a statement to Pontius Pilate, he said, if this was my kingdom, my servants shall fight. So he automatically knew, like the Lord knew long ago that his life was going to be taken. All right, and he knew it was only one way. Now, if he had it up to Peter, the Lord would never have sacrificed himself for us, and then we would have been all screwed. So Yahushua he already had it in his mind, the longevity. He had it in his mind. This is the only way. So now, when he raised up against those that raised up against him, who's going to stop him? Who's going to tell him, like, no, I can't allow that to happen? No one. He's been through it. All right. It says, if for my determination is to gather the nations. Right now, Trump and Israel is trying to find another way to go attack Iran. So now they're playing with people's emotions, because what Trump said several months ago, maybe a month or two ago, he made mention of World War III, how people said that if the war in the Middle East take place, it's the end of the world. So now Netanyahu is trying to convince the U.S. to help attack Iran again. And the Ayatollah publicly saying that what's going on in Iran, they believe is a CIA operative. So all that tension is having people or world leaders to go right back into the Middle East, to the Levant. And they don't even know what's compelling them to do it. The Lord is. See, the Lord already have it in his mind how he's going to avenge his people in one fell swoop. He's going to put the spirit on his people to fight back. Okay, after he's going to punish his people. Because a lot of our people really have Stockholm syndrome. They love the so-called white man. So when Jacob's trouble takes place, he's going to come back to people's memory because they're going to be living through it. And they're going to realize, like, yo, this man's a devil, right? That's what they're really going to be saying to themselves. And by that time, it's going to be too little too late for the majority of the Lord's people here. But as for the rest of them on the other side of the world, they're done. They're through. All right? They're through. And for my determination is to gather the nations that I may assemble kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation. Even all my fierce anger for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So overall, the end game, literally, is the Middle East, is Iran. That is the end game. And this end game has everything to do with what has been done unto the Lord's people, which I always bring out. And as a vibration, we all got to have to push. Is what? World War III is because what Esau have done unto the Lord's people. All right? You don't have to believe us. There's slavery. That was a thing of the past. That's their favorite line. But them not knowing, after the Lord allowed you to do certain things to his people, you continue on. So now you extra guilty. You're guilty already because you did these things, but you made it worse. So now the Lord's he's gonna require payment. Joel 3:1, it says, "For behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," meaning the Lord's going to take them out of captivity. "I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat." That's the determination of the Lord. That's his plan. That was the plan from the get-go. All right. The Lord's going to rescue his people, not by the sword, not by horseback, not by a mighty thought, by his mighty hand. All right. And so I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So that's where it's all is stemming from. All right. The Lord is fully concerned and willing to gather all nations from the very jump. So it's going to be war at all fronts. Jacob's trouble, World War III. All right. Civil unrest, race wars, race riots, class wars, all in one. And people might think it's just because of your political differences. No, it's going to be far beyond that. This is the Lord showing the world, like, okay, y'all mess with my people. Now y'all all going to have to pay for it. It says, verse 3, and here's the history. They have cast lots for my people. I've given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. And that goes into the slave trade, the auctioning block. All right. Why we keep bringing it out? Because the Lord is concerned is what these people have done, and they gloated about it. They literally gloated about all the stuff that they did, how they got away with this. And that's why I said they did sent post cards to one another, and this and them sending the postcards to one another, gloating in what they've done to the Lord's people. Guilty, innocent, they didn't matter to them. You did something that displeased them, they will hunt you down. So instead of the Lord just to get them back each individually, no. He's gonna go after Esau's power source, his mighty armies, all right, and he's gonna allow his people to get their hands on the rest. That's the promise of Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, that's what the Lord means. It says, hold on. On the tip of my tongue. I think it's Jeremiah. You know what? Let me just get this one. Revelation 18. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High remembered her iniquities, which is sin multiplied. Reward her even as she's rewarded thee. Even as she's rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled to her double. So the things that comes out our mouth is actually facts that's just gonna happen. And that's your problem, Esau. That's your issue. You're gonna have to figure that out. Because according to the scriptures, you're gonna have to pay. There's no amount of money on the planet Earth that you could give that's gonna replace what you have done. Okay? It says if Revelation 13:9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. There is a patience in the faith of the saints of the saints. All right. So that means what? The saints of the Most High is patiently waiting for that payback. And a lot of those souls that were taken out back then, they're back seeking that same revenge. All right. So you are screwed. There's none amount of money in the world that people desire. You can't pay the Lord back. You can't ask for forgiveness. You blood for blood. All right. That's the only way. That's the only acceptable way. Now, everybody else will say, "Oh, give us reparations," but the reparations is not going to satisfy the will of the Lord, not of men. Okay, so yeah, you're going to have to pay with your lives. With that being said, shalom to the elect of the nations of shalom.